Hello and welcome to another game from this Play All 3 set from the Sunbros 1v1 tournament. We've got Mazen up here against Code. We saw Code take the first game with a Rio Grande Mexico. Now they're over down here in this lovely deep purple colour. It's India. And up in the top of the map we have Mazen switching over from Portugal to France. Obviously Mazen seems to be a bit of a fan of the old school civs, the European civs. Let's talk about this map. We have game 2 here on Alaska. Previous game, Arctic Territories, had no natives, only the trade route, and this map is the opposite. We have 2 nuka settlements available in the middle, but no trade route available, so both of these civs are going to have to be getting by with fewer shipments, less XP income. The other thing to note about this map, if you choose to go for the water, there are 5 lovely whales sitting out here in the bay in the middle territory. Or if you choose to stay on the land in the late game, there are these 2 gold mines, kind of in the middle, but kind of also one on each side really. They are inland on the right hand side of the map. Now, speaking of going for water, it looks like Code is thinking of doing just that because we've got East India men coming in. This gives a dock and discounts the cost of fishing boats from 70 down to 50 wood. I remember the old days of Legacy when it was 100 down to 70 for the Asian civs, but there you go. And look, that's not a card you see very often. We've got a 500 gold mercenary shipment that gives you 3 catamarans, it looks like, with 10 dacoits distributed across them. That's very cool to see. Water Boom Standard is the deck title, so you can expect some boomy play from Code this time round. And look, we've got all those lovely paid elephant cards sitting around in H3. I hope that we get to see some of those coming out. The dock wagon is not quite down yet. I promise we will talk about France in a second. I'm just anxious to see this dock get created. Well, it's not happening, so let's go and check in on Maz. Maz has opened up with the market, which is great to see. Now, I don't know the numbers. Sorry, this is cast unprofessionalism, but I reckon 1.14 does mean hunting docks is in. That's my guess. Love the deck name, and it looks like, what have we got here? We've got a fairly standard balanced France age 2-3 kind of situation here. Interestingly, the Briggs, I think there was a bit of treasure contention going on in the middle there, based on that chat. Interesting, you've got the Briggs, which could be used as sort of emergency cover for an FF. I think that's quite popular. I mean, this could, we could have a big age 2 push here, and the deck is kind of balanced to cover that. Could just be a straight FF. Could be a sort of semi or a mid-length H2. All sorts of options here for France. This is, it's France. They've got all sorts of options to start with, and this deck is committing to nothing. So we'll have to see what Maz chooses to do with it. In terms of the line of sight, Maz has scouted the map really, really well, taking advantage of the French native scout. It's now going to be sieging the Wonder. I always think it's a bit pointless to siege the Wonder, but I guess if you've got nothing better to do. Shipment earned, but it's very rare to see France send 2 shipments before H2, so don't expect to see any action there. In terms of India, they've got 2 explorers as well. One of them is down right now. That's a little bit unfortunate. Scouting out, finding the enemy hunts as well. The dock has finally been built. We've got 2 fishing boats and counting. Well, no, not and counting, just 2 fishing boats at the moment because we haven't got the wood to cover it. No distributors in here, so we're going to be probably seeing the foreign logging trickle come in pretty soon, but will be somewhat limited in terms of wood income unless Code chooses to commit more villagers to it. Interestingly, the Arga fort, Maz will have seen that as well and knows that India is at least thinking fairly defensive with the very deep, very, very in-base Arga fort. You don't get much more in-base than that, but good work being done to bring this hunt in. This hunt, not quite so well brought in, but it's pretty much finished. There's another hunt at the back here that's relatively safe. I think it will be hard for France to raid that. I haven't even looked at it right now. But I would say the Arga fort, you know, you could have put it like half a screen forward and then maybe stake to claim on 2 more hunts with it. So kind of choosing a very, very safe defensive option here. Code is 700 wood coming in as the first card. That's going to help get the boom going. Needs to invest in some houses pretty soon as well, so imagine we'll see a share of that going towards that. 2 stuns. Oh, this is a... I didn't know you got these kind of treasures on this map. So 4 Cougars here guarding 125 wood. India using the double Explorer stun to make very short work of that. That's going to be a nice boost. Can't spot any other exciting treasures. There's a native scout available there. France's original native scout falling into the path of the Arga fort, showing France that there's no other military buildings, but of course you don't need any other military buildings when you've got the fort. You can train absolutely everything out of the fort. France also going onto the water. This is quite interesting. Nothing in the deck to help with water. I don't even think refrigeration counts, no. Has a stable down. Going for a church next as well. That's kind of interesting. Probably just for the XP. Although I guess in Fortress you can do a nice thing with France's curs and potentially heal those because they're very, very high HP units. So you can kind of in and out and heal those. That could be something a little later. Shipment is going to be 4 CDB. That follows 700 wood, which looks like was mostly spent on houses. Quite a lot of houses for an age 2 here, so I wonder if we're going to be seeing a bit of a medium length age 2 from France. Although the macro is looking all right for a fortress. I mean, it's not great. You're quite a way short on the gold here, man. It's going to be trading at the market. I'm pretty sure I just saw those numbers jump up. Be trading at the market to get the fortress age up right. I think you can do 2 or 3 trades at the market, food to gold. That's pretty fine. So probably didn't lose too much out of that, but a little bit of a mistake on the macro here. I do like the idea though. One thing I'll go on the record as being very in favour of is the no 700 coin FF. I really like to see that. I like to see it from Spain, and I haven't seen it from France. I like to see it from Otto. Germany can think about it as well. But yeah, exciting to see it from France. It means the 700 wood can go down nice and early. We get the market, docks, stables available. Looks like they aged up fast because that was a very fast age up. And now it's goons. So goons are going to be fun against India because of course they like putting out elephants, which all count as heavy cavalry, or well, all count as different flavors of cavalry. Potentially, you know, could see some really fun micro with these goons, could see some raiding, so excited to see some France H2 goons. Cav combat is obviously available for France as well. Could potentially see some really nice combo work with goons and curs, cav combat, buffing them both. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's interesting to see. And I think it was a pretty nice age up time. I didn't make note of the age up time, but probably something like 8 minutes 30, which without sending the 700 gold is pretty good. And of course, sending the 4 CDBs does give France a nice eco boost. Bit of a shame that we haven't had any fishing boats out of the dock now. Kind of a waste of the 200 wood investment so far. If we check in on India, we've seen 10 fishing boats, so a really nice water boom going on here. And in fact, if we check on the village account, we can see a big difference there. 42 plays 27. okay, they're CDBs, so you've got to maybe add a quarter, so add 6 or so, so maybe 34, but that's still 6 to 8 villager lead for India. That's going to start to feel really significant. Foreign logging is also in. I think that's something like another 4 or 5 villagers just on wood. So eco-wise, India got a big edge here. I also didn't acknowledge this, but India are up in Fortress as well. They've gone for the Carney Martyr. That's going to be buffing all their villagers inside the town centre area, which is all of them because got quite a few idols here. The hunts have run out or gotten to awkward positions, and I think these villagers are stopped because of that. So that's a little bit of a misplay. France is massing up the dragoons. Oh, and this is interesting. The middle guard. So that's the church card has come in, giving France some really good grenadiers. Of course, it's always a bit confusing to understand quite what grenadiers are these days. They're heavy infantry, but they're really bad against cavalry. So they're kind of more like, I always think of them as they're a bit more like skirmishers, but they sort of count as heavy infantry. Quite difficult to counter. The thing to counter them with is cav. Potentially goons can counter them pretty well, because they will get that negative multiplier against goons. But yeah, seeing quite a sizable force, 12 of these grenadiers. And of course they're upgraded because of the church card. I think they count as consulate units based on that little icon beneath them. However, we've got these Mohawk Lancers getting on top of the grenadiers. The goons are sticking nearby, trying to kite, but the problem is goons don't fight any better when... goons don't do any better kiting when they're not the ones actually getting attacked. So India with a pretty good answer to that first push. And you've got to think about with the superior eco India have got from their boom, these things are starting to look really good for co-defender in this scenario. Yeah, France bringing out those middle guard, those goons. It's a nice combination. It's a nice timing in this kind of early going on medium fortress aid situation. France really committing to the cav now, going in with another stable. Actually going just back in with the same units, maybe some more goons slightly, but I'm not sure it was a great idea. I would say, you know, if you're building up to a timing like that and it doesn't go well, you need to have some reason to go back in. You need to have some reason to believe that you've improved your situation more than the opponent has. If I were, I mean, it's 2020 hindsight, but if I were in Maz's situation now, I'd absolutely be looking at another TC, getting that dock working, and try and match this boom, because I think the window of opportunity to get in front of it and cut it off is pretty much closed now. Fishing boats are having to move up. Not a lot of food left in the sea now, but they can go over to these whales pretty much uncontested. India, I was looking, they did have the resources for age 4 there, but have decided instead to spend 600 food on another one of these Lancer shipments, and on training some more Mahouts as well. So obviously pretty committed to the idea of these Mahouts, thinks that they can take on the goons, which in theory should be countering them. You know, obviously these Mahouts, they're massive units, they're auto-disciplined, i.e. veteran. They're really, really tanky. They can jump in and out and have the Indian explorers heal them up. But fundamentally they've got area damage, so they've got a lot of things going for them, but fundamentally goons are the right answer to these Mahouts, and I think the grenadiers are just kind of being sacrificed here. You know, in terms of counters, India hasn't got anything that really beats these goons. They've got a few redcoats, but the redcoats don't counter the goons at range, only really in melee. They've got some howdahs at the back, but the howdahs are only really matching the goons, not necessarily beating them. So, although they've got a big advantage in terms of numbers, it's kind of, I almost feel like it was questionable for Code to choose to go in like this, but maybe they just thought, well, I've got a choice. I'm at a decision point. I can either go to industrial or I can try and finish this off now. And I think the wind is in my favour, and I'll go for the kill now. Quite a big score difference opening up here. Things are looking really good for India. Oh, that second TC I wished for is down for France, and that's really good. 2 Falcons, I imagine that's from shipment, but they're looking a bit lost if we just check on the shipments for France. They're looking a bit lost at the moment. A whole bunch of goons coming out. We've got a shipment of 5. 4 more getting trained, although I don't think they're going to get cancelled because the stable is finished. I'm not sure how well these Falcons are going to fare. The Indian might just decide to tank in here with the mouse. That's exactly what I'd be doing, and yeah, that is painful to see Falcons just getting basically steamrolled like that. These goons are trying to kite again to save themselves from the Rajputs, who are going to be very, very good at dealing with them. Look at those big, scary Rajputs with their double sword arm situation. So the main part of the Indian force now is reaching the French TC. I think that TC is going down. The Minutemen have already been used for it. A shipment of 3 Kurs coming in. I mean, that's something to throw into this. France have saved up the resources for industrial, so could potentially look at industrial with their pocket TC, but it's going to be tricky. If India keep up this pressure and keep pushing units in, then you feel like France is probably going to be wiped out before industrial would arrive. And indeed, France choosing not to go with that. Oh, use your resources, France. Do something. Could potentially be getting another batch of goons going. Yeah, there they are now. I do think that goons are the answer here. Yeah, India's really committed a lot of resources into these mahouts, and the only thing that they've got that beats goons is the howdahs and the Rajputs, who have mostly kind of been eroded away by these kiting. But France now losing a lot of houses. That means they're going to have to replace those. That means they're going to have to get wood. They can trade wood at the market, and it would be really smart to just maybe trade over like 500 wood before this market goes down, to give them the best chance of rebuilding. Rip to that opportunity. Mining Gold now have decided to go for industrial after all that. I think that might... hesitating and then going for industrial might have been the worst choice in that situation, I'm afraid to say. We've got another batch of goons coming up. The pressure does seem to have let up a bit from India. India just stacking a lot of units, maybe got too focused on microing the army and lost track of the kind of training pipeline here. Doesn't have the food available to go to industrial, so though France doesn't know this, they are going to have the age lead for a little while, because I don't think India's making it over to this new base in time. India's army is still pretty chunky though, and there's a lot more of it on the way. We've got 15 redcoats. Those are really nice those are like consular and veteran musketeers. Got yet another mahout to add to the tally of 6. Got another one in queue. Got absolutely tons of wood and gold available as well. So going to be investing in some market tech. So yeah, big opportunity for India to put absolutely loads of units down, and I think that could be a big problem for France here, because even with the industrial age, which is now in, it's going to be very, very hard for them to stem the tide here. A Cav guarding those 2 falconets from the age up. I like to see that. Some skirmishers coming in. I think that's their first... now it must have been an age 3 shipment, I think, sent in transition. I would love to see the villagers getting involved here, because this is it. India have decided to push the agenda. 2 Falcons are getting quite a bit of value because the Cav are sitting in front of them, stopping the mahouts getting straight on top of them. Oh, but a lot of goons going down, and now there's just skirms left, and the skirms are going to go down even faster. more Mahouts coming in. There's still quite a few Indian units sitting at the back. France hasn't got much else left, and the GG is called. A really fun game there. India basically textbook boom, lovely use of the water, all of these fishing boats which ended up sitting on the whales really comfortably. Had the superior eco from about the sort of 8 or 9 minute mark. France tried to create a bit of pressure and a bit of momentum. I love seeing those young guards. I love the idea of the no 700 gold FF. But that first attack really didn't go well, just getting stuck up with those Mahouts and fighting under the fort. Wasn't going well from France, and unfortunately weren't able to pivot into this new industrial strategy quickly enough. And yeah, that's the story of the game. So that is a 2-0 to Code Defender, but it's a play all 3, so we'll still be seeing a third game from this set. I will see you for that one. But for now, good night and GG.